Alright, so a bit of a different video here today. Since you clicked on this video, you're probably either a new survivor or you're just a survivor that want to get better at looping killers and making them rage quit. If so, then you are in the right place. So let's break down everything with first all the types of loops that you will find in DBD. We got the normal pallet loops, we got the jungle gyms, we got the shack, and we got the horrendously bad unsafe short loops, which why are they even in the game? So let's start off with the most busted loop in the game, which is the Killer Shack. The Killer Shack is basically a small building that you will find in, well, the majority of the maps nowadays. Some maps such as like the game map or Larry's, you won't find them, but in most maps like Macmillan or Autohaven or Coldwind, all of that, you will easily find a shack. Basically in the shack you got a goat pallet and you got a very strong window loop. Basically the best way to utilize the Killer Shack is to loop the killer 3 times, vote the window until the window gets blocked. Basically, if the window gets blocked and the killer is chasing you, you have 2 options. Either you can go straight for the killer check, which I really highly avoid that you should do, or you could, at least if you're fully healed, try to mind game the killer and risk getting hit. If you try to mind game a killer, the best way to do so is after you vote a window, you can go loop around again, and even if the window is blocked, you could basically hide in next to a locker in the small corner of the shack, as I'm showing you here right now in this clip. This could either work or this could not work. It all depends on how good the killer is. If it's a baby killer, it will most likely work at him and he will lose you almost instantly. If it's a good killer and he knows what he's doing, then it will most likely not work on him since he was probably experienced. Moving on, we got the unsafe and short loops. Nothing really much to say about these loops, just avoid them at all costs because you will most likely end up dying. I think these loops have killed more survivors than the killers themselves. Alright, moving on to the normal pallet loops. Basically, normal pallet loops is just a pallet and then you have like some obstacles. Like you either have like boxes or like walls or like some hay bales, something like that. Basically, the best way to use these loops is to go around the longer side of the loop instead of the shorter side. As I'm showing you right now in this clip, I'm going along the longer side of the pallet loop instead of the shorter side. Because if you go on the shorter side, the killer can easily mind game you or like do some moonwalks, do some like Michael Jackson type moves and give you a slap, which is not what you want. We're trying to avoid that. So if you're going around the long loops, you have more leverage on the killer. You can see the killer a lot more. You can know if he's trying to mind game you or something like that. This is actually much better effective if you're going against Ghostface or the Pick, aka killers that are small to see, or the killers that can crouch, such as like Chucky. He's very small to see. So this is highly effective. If the killer is trying to mind game you and gaining Bloodlust 3, that is fine. I highly suggest you not drop the pallet and you just continuously hold W until you see the killer right on your tail. Then if you know you're gonna get hit and you can't make another loop, then alright, drop it. And if you're very greedy and you want to actually make the killer rage quit, you could either pallet tech the killer or just instantly, basically when you stun the killer, you could vote the pallet, and if you have light, you could just sprint away, or you could just crouch in the killer, and if the killer is bad, he will most likely swing backwards, allowing you to either run away using light or just vote again the pallet if you were crouched. Basically, if you're also using a flashlight, the killer would then break the pallet, so you can just blind him and then walk through him and then just run or hide, making the killer's life a little bit harder for them to actually catch you. But if you're not like experienced and you just want to play it safe, don't go for that yet. However, I would highly suggest doing it, as that helped me out quite a bunch of times. It is very handy. If you pull it off correctly, it will just save you so many times. It saved me a bunch, as I said. So that is probably the best way you could use a normal pallet loop.
Nice.
Moving on, we got the jungle gyms. So jungle gyms could be like a T-shaped wall or like an L-shaped wall. There's a lot of different types of jungle gyms here. Most of them consist of like one pallet and a window. I would highly suggest you always go for the windows first, depending on the killer. If let's say you're going against a Huntress or a Deathslinger or Trickster, Twins, or just any killer that has a long range ability, even Nurse. But then again, Nurse, she's the most busted killer in the game, so any loop against Nurse is basically useless. Unless she's a baby Nurse, then have fun. But basically, if you're going on a T-shaped loop or an L-shaped, I would highly suggest going with windows. As I said, it always depends on the killer. If you're going against like a trapper, make sure that the windows or pallets are not trapped. If you're going against the Wraith, I would suggest you fake the windows mainly and try to outsmart him. As I was also mentioning here, if you're going to go straight for the pallet, if you have no choice, you're injured, you're gonna get down instantly, the killer has bloodlust on you and you have no choice, go for the pallet and try to mind game the killer a little bit. If the killer is not gonna instantly break the pallet, I would suggest you do a little bit of a 180 around the pallet, which will technically tell the killer that you're either vaulting the pallet or you're faking it. Then it's around a 50% chance if the killer will fall for it or not. So that really depends on how you want to play it. Moving on to how well you should use these loops. So for a pallet, as I said, if you're in a normal pallet loop, I would suggest you go on the longer route instead of the short route to have more leverage on the killer. If you're in a T-wall or an L-shaped wall, you could easily do a window tag, or you could mind games. As I said, you could fake vaults, fake a window vault, or fake a pallet vault, or fake even just a pallet throw, all of that. If you are experienced enough and you want to try a window tech, basically what you want to make sure is you want to fast vault a window while the killer has a little bit of distance, and when the killer is vaulting that window, you can crouch by the window and you can just slowly crouch behind the killer as he vaults the window. Now keep in mind, this doesn't always work. If the killer knows about window techs, which most of the killers do nowadays, unless you're playing at low ranks and you're going against a new killer, then he's not going to be experienced, which is when this will come in very handy. If the killer knows what he's doing though, you are most likely going to die doing this, but you never know until you try. So keep in mind, window text and all of the mind games only work if the killer does not know what he's doing, or he's just like reading your movements horrendously bad, which in that case is very perfect for you. Another way to actually escape the killer, if you're looping and all the pallets are basically down, the windows have been blocked and you're at no choice, the last resort is to try and 360 the killers. Now this is not as easy as most of the things here. 360ing is a little bit more harder to do, but it's also not that difficult to 360 if you're an experienced player. For me, I have like 8.3k hours in the game almost, so I have done multiple 360s in my time. Usually they can help you out quite a lot. If you 360 the killer and there is a window right next to you, you can just 360 and vault the window instantly, and that will give you a lot more looping time, allowing your teammates to get all the gens. And if your teammates has gotten all the gens, open the exit gates, and then they can come take a hit for you if your teammates are good. But anyways, that is going to be all for this video. If you guys have any more questions, you can always feel free and comment down below. But if this video had helped you out, please make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. That will be very much appreciated. But anyways, with all that said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a good night, guys.